Alright, so we're going to go ahead and pick back up again where we left off. So I already did some setup and I already built out some terms. So we're going to go ahead and look at a bit more of a higher level sigma problem. And we're going to make this, we're going to begin with the first term again. We're going to go up only to the fourth term here. And I think I'm going to go ahead and do 5 times 1/3 to the n. So this is a little bit of a different situation. If you notice, the previous example had a subtraction situation. This one has an exponent situation. So I'm going to go ahead and build these terms out. I'm going to start with the first term, then the second, then the third, and then I'll stop at the fourth. And these terms are going to be 5 times 1/3 to the 1. 5 times 1/3 to the second, 5 times 1/3 to the third, and 5 times 1/3 to the fourth. Now, if I asked you to do this up to the 40th term, you would not have as much fun as writing out 4 terms as you would with 40. So, we're going to learn how to take this setup and then build it into doing a much larger problem. So, when we look at this, we have 5 times 1/3, 5 times 1/9, 5 times 1/27, 5 times 1/81. So if you notice, each time you've got a 5 in front, and then the ratio, the thing that's changing each time, is that 1/3. So what we're really looking at here is we're saying, okay, my first term is going to be 5/3, but each time I'm multiplying in between each term that 1/3 change. So what you can do here is you can write these out, and you can, very easily say 5/3 plus 5/9 plus 5/27 plus 5/81, and then find out your sum that way. That's totally fine. Or you can use this piece of information gleaned from the first term and then the common ratio, the piece that is changing in between each term. Our common ratio in this case is multiplying by 1/3. And you can use these two pieces to fill out the sum formula for geometric series. So because we're multiplying, that sets us into a geometric situation. Geometric series has a sum formula of the first term times 1 minus r to the n all over 1 minus r. And so just by recognizing the sigma, building out just 4 of the terms, that's enough to set us off, we can find out what the first term is, what the common ratio is, and then use these 2 pieces of information to plug into our series right here. So our series summation formula is going to look like this. S sub 4, because we want the first 4 terms, is going to be created by the first term, 5/3, times 1 minus 1/3 to the fourth, all over 1 minus 1/3. Now, from here, you can do some creative algebra, which is what I'm going to do, or you can use your calculator, which is totally fine as well. Better to be accurate than to not. So, I'm going to have 5/3 times 1 minus 1/3 to the fourth. Well, I believe that's going to be, let's see, 3, 9, 27, 81. So 1 minus 1/81, all over 1 minus 1/3. I can go ahead and rewrite that as 2/3. So from here, 5/3 times, how about, let's see, 1 is going to be 81 over 81. So 80 over 81 all over 2/3. Just made a common denominator here so I can subtract them. So when you divide by a fraction, you're going to multiply it by its reciprocal. So I'm going to flip that upside down here. And I'm just going to have to go straight across. 5 times 8 is 40. Stick an extra 0 on it. 3 times 81. Well, 3 times 1 is 3, and 3 times 8 is 24. So there's that. And then finally, I can go ahead and reduce my fractions here instead of multiplying this. 400 divided by 2 is going to get me 200. And 343 and 3 will both divide by 3. So I should get 200 over 81 as my final answer. So, just to recap, we started with this sigma build. We start with the first term. We want the sum of the first 4 terms. So I built my first 4 terms just to see what they would look like. Once I built them, I noticed, okay, I have my first term officially, A1, and I have the thing that's changing in between. The thing that's changing in between, in this case, is multiplying by 1/3, so I call that the R. Since I know that the first term and a common ratio can get plugged in to find a series sum, given the equations that you learned in that lesson, I can go ahead and plug these into A1, R, and N. N being 4, since we want the sum of the first 4 terms. So finally, this is just the algebra behind it, and if we check that in the calculator, hopefully it matches. All right, time for another break.